Because of an unusual disorder that has aged him 4 times faster than a typical human being, a boy looks like a 40-year-old man as he starts 5th grade at public school after being homeschooled.
This is Ryan.
And this is Ashley.
And this is
Ruining Our Childhood,
a nostalgic weekly podcast where a married couple rewatches and reviews our favorite 90s and 2000s movies to decide if they hold up to our adult standards.
That is this podcast. And hi.
Hi, guys.
How's it going?
Welcome back.
I will pause for your answer.
Thank you for being here.
We're hitting another week of polls.
Mm-hmm.
We're so close to finishing this loser bracket that we started last summer.
As I say, in May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to go on this long, but, you know, things happen. Episodes don't come out.
Mm-hmm.
We decide on a whim that we're going to do a bunch of Halloween movies in October.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
We could have pushed it back even worse if we would have brought back the rom-com-tastic February like we did last year.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
Mm-mm.
It's Valentine's Day today.
Yeah.
On the day we are recording.
Mm-hmm.
So happy Valentine's Day. Or belated, I should say.
And then also happy belated birthday to your brother. Happy early birthday to my brother.
Yeah, sure.
We have a big February.
We do. A lot of people born.
Our sound gal.
Sound gal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Quinn.
Yeah.
It's her birthday soon.
She's getting old.
She is.
Yeah. She's going to get her AARP card soon.
I think she would have already gotten it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty old.
Shall we continue on with the podcast?
Yes.
Or did you want to talk about Quinn some more?
No.
Should we start a new podcast about Quinn and Rupert?
The Quinpert cast? It would have 4 listeners.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
You don't know. Quinn and Rupert have a fan base.
Do they?
They might.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, hi. This week we're doing the 1996 classic Jack, starring Robin Williams, the recent poll winner. I apologize for all the people that were rooting for 2012.
Yeah.
It's particularly one person, I know.
I was going to say, we have one person who really wanted 2012.
But it will come. It's in the final too.
I was going to say, it could be as soon as next week.
Yeah. I hope that it beats out In the Army Now.
God.
It has John Cusack. It's just automatically better just by that. In my eyes, at least.
Well, I think in a lot of people's eyes, John Cusack is a better actor than Pauly Shore.
I would hope so.
God, I would hope so as well.
So anyway, 1996. Let's go down memory road and hit us with some 1996 facts.
This movie was released on August 9th, 1996. It had a budget of $45 million, and it made $58.6 million. Some popular TV shows from 1996 were ER, Seinfeld, and Suddenly Susan was actually more popular than Friends.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of surprising. The number one song the week the movie came out was Los Del Rio, the Macarena. A couple other popular songs were Tupac featuring Casey and JoJo, How Do You Want It, and Toni Braxton, You're Making Me High. And some popular movies were Independence Day, Twister, and Mission Impossible.
Nice.
All movies we should eventually do for the podcast.
Yeah. We're curating a list for season 3.
Mm-hmm.
And by curating, I mean we've talked about it a little bit and haven't written anything down. So when we go to write these down, we'll be like, what did we want to do?
What movies did we say we should do?
We are going to do another set of polls and themes, and we've discussed some of that. So look out for that.
Yeah.
So what do you remember from this film in 1996 in general?
I do remember we had just moved to Arizona, and my mom took me and my brothers to go see this right when the movie theater at the mall opened. It was the first time I had ever been to a movie theater that had stadium-style seating.
Nice.
So it was kind of neat. Also, I remember at this time being a pretty big fan of Robin Williams, so I was super excited to see it.
That's cool.
Yeah. What about you?
I don't think I saw this until a couple years later when it was like on TV.
Mm-hmm.
I remember really enjoying this movie to the point where whenever it was on, I did watch it. Just the concept that he's a kid in a man's body is really funny, especially to a 10-year-old. And I liked Jennifer Lopez too, so that helped.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, Jennifer Lopez is in the movie.
Yeah. I will say, like, also when I saw this movie, just thinking it was refreshing to watch this guy who's in his middle 40s probably just jumping into this role and enjoying getting to act like a kid.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's not weird because he technically is a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just always think like some actors are too cool to do fun roles like that, whereas Robin Williams was never too cool to do stuff like that.
The thing I remember from this film is how Robin Williams is really sincere, especially when he's bummed out that he has a hard time relating to the kids when he first gets into the public school system, or even when in the beginning of the movie he's lonely and he wants to be with other children. I remember one of the reasons I liked this movie was because the way Robin Williams played it. So if we want to venture into our predictions of whether this movie will hold up, what do you think?
I'm going to say it will. You just brought up a really good point about him being an endearing and sweet kid on top of just being really funny and enjoyable. I know I haven't seen it in a very long time, but I have a lot of good memories about the movie. And yeah, I think it's just going to be fun.
I will say this is probably the one film that we have done for the podcast that I know I've seen in the last maybe 2 or 3 years. So I'm going to agree with you. Okay. It's a little bit of a cheat in a way, but I am going to agree with you that it's going to hold up because I think most because of Robin Williams, and it has a good supporting cast as far as like who plays his mother.
Yeah.
So I think that will definitely aid towards it holding up as well.
For sure. I can remember who played his mom. I don't remember who played his dad.
I remember his dad being kind of a dick.
Okay.
So I can picture him. He's not like a super popular actor where I'm like, it's, I can't even think of an actor that was popular.
Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, it's not Dustin Hoffman.
Where can you stream this?
You can stream this on Disney Plus, and you can buy it and rent it also on various platforms, but it is part of the Disney Plus package. It's not a Disney movie, but I'm sure it was one of the ones acquired when they bought up, every single company in the world.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I saw it was distributed by Buena Vista. So
okay.
I would assume that's Disney.
You're right.
But it wasn't.
It wasn't like
Disney Pictures. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I guess they did have Disney Pictures. I was just thinking, I'm like, did they list it as Disney? Like live action movies?
I think there was some.
Okay.
That were like Santa Claus and stuff like that, where they were live action, but it was very few. They were usually like Touchstone and other ones. Makes
sense.
Yeah.
Sort of. Anyway, so we'll go ahead and hit that.
Pausey pause.
Come back and talk about Jack.
But show. And we're back. We just finished watching Jack, and we're going to go ahead and kick things off with our first category. Well, hello there.
Well, hello there.
Where we talk about any cameos of famous or recognizable actors or actresses that we may have forgot were in the movie. Whom did you notice?
Well, we did mention Robin Williams plays Jack, who is the main character of this film, to which it's named.
Yes.
You know Robin Williams from Mrs. Doubtfire, which is an episode we did recently. Check it out if you haven't. And Hook, Jumanji, so many 90s childhood favorites, voice of Aladdin, and obviously
voice of Genie.
Voice in Aladdin is what I meant to say, not voice of Aladdin. And, he passed away a couple years ago, and the world's a little less funny.
Yeah. Very good way to put it.
Yeah.
My first one plays Jack's mother, Karen. Her name is Diane Lane. You've probably heard of her. She was in The Outsiders, Under the Tuscan Sun. More recently, she was in Man of Steel and House of Cards.
Yeah, she played Martha Kent. Must Love Dogs.
Yeah.
It's an Ashley favorite.
That is. with the Cusack.
Yeah. Second John Cusack reference in this episode.
Yeah, and he's not even in this movie.
My next one is Brian Kerwin.
Kerwin?
Mm-hmm. Probably, I don't know. As Brian Powell, who is Jack's father. I almost said mother. He was on One Life to Live. Hindsight, that show on VH1 that we liked that got canceled for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Still a little upset about that one.
Mm-hmm.
And The Nick.
Yeah.
And I would like to say, I know in the beginning of the episode I said that I thought his character was a jerk, and I retract that statement.
Okay.
I don't know what I was remembering.
I don't know what you're remembering either.
Good dad.
Yeah.
Next one.
My next one is the actor Alan Rich. He plays one of the doctors who delivers Jack. He was on House back in the day and Curb Your Enthusiasm and a whole ton of stuff prior to that.
Okay. Yeah. I thought he looked familiar.
Mm-hmm.
The other doctor, who is the specialist that they bring in when they realize Jack has this aging disease, is Keone Young.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how you say his first name.
That's how I would say it.
As Dr. Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, Ashley. Dr. Lynn. And he's been in a ton of stuff, but the things I remember him from were True Blood and Men in Black 3,
Yes.
and he does a whole mess of voice acting.
I saw he voiced one of my faves, Storm Shadow, from the G.I. Joe series that was
Nice.
on when I was a kid.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. And it looks like he was a regular on Deadwood.
Okay, yeah. He had too many things.
Yeah.
I was just like, I know him from somewhere. He's very familiar, but yeah.
My next one is Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
And he plays Mr. Woodruff.
Who's Jack's tutor.
Mm-hmm.
My next one is Jennifer Lopez as Miss Marquez.
Mm-hmm.
She is Jack's teacher when he finally does get to go to school. And of course, Jennifer Lopez has been in Selena and The Wedding Planner, another episode we did. Check it out from last year. And she has a couple projects in the works. So, she's Jennifer Lopez. She's very, very famous.
Yeah. My next one is Adam Zolatan. He plays Louis, who is Jack's, essentially his best friend once he starts going to school. He also played Eddie Haskell in the Leave It to Beaver movie. And more recently, a few years ago, he did an episode of Mr. Robot.
Yeah, I saw that, and he was in an episode of SVU.
Yeah.
That I vaguely remember. My next one is Ted Bosley as Edward, or I don't know if they say Eddie.
I think they call him Eddie.
Okay, makes more sense that 10-year-olds would say Eddie instead of Edward.
Yeah.
Todd Bosley from Little Giants.
Yes.
That's probably the most famous part other than this movie he was in. He still acts, but nothing that jumped out at me that we've seen, so.
Yeah. And I did see he's a cousin of Tom Bosley from Happy Days. Mr. Cunningham.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I read that and I was like, interesting. My next one is the character of John, played by Seth Smith. And he was in Angels in the Outfield.
That's where he was from.
Home Alone 3, and did an episode of Nash Bridges.
You know who I thought he was at first? Was the kid that was the best friend in Major League. Not Major League. In
Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year. Why do I always say Major League?
And he was in Heavyweights.
Yes.
Yes. Because he looks like he
blonde.
could be like that guy's younger brother or something.
For all we know, he could be.
Yeah.
My next one is Journey Smollett. She plays Phoebe, who is one of the two girls that are a little younger than Jack, and they kind of tease him a little bit. Obviously, Journey Smollett is from Lovecraft Country. More recently, Birds of Prey, and everybody's 90s favorite, Full House.
Yes.
She played Michelle's best friend, or one of her best friends, because she also had that one kid. What was his name?
Teddy.
There was Teddy. I was getting to Teddy, but what was the kid that was like in Pet Sematary? He was the one that had an attitude.
Oh.
Like
I want to say
Alex or something like that.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about, but yeah.
But it was like they always had that little group. It was Why can't I think of anybody's
Taj.
Taj Mowry.
Taj Mowry.
Taj Mowry.
Yes.
I can't talk.
Yes.
It's Tia and Tamara's little brother. He's from Smart Guy.
Yeah. Let's call him who he is. Tia and Tamara's little brother.
I'm sure he loves when people say that.
Yes. Because also he was famous before them.
No?
He was on Full House before Sister Sister.
Okay, I think it was around the same time.
Okay.
They're all acting.
Yes.
But he didn't get a lead role until later.
No,
so that's
no.
why I'm counting them as being
They're
famous.
definitely more famous than he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. We just had like a 3-minute discussion about, again, not even in the movie.
We got on it because we were talking about Journey Smollett,
Yeah.
and then we were talking about Full House. And okay,
My next one, I'm just going to say the person's name because I thought her character was delightful. Her name was Danny Faith.
Yes.
She played Jane, who is Phoebe's best friend. You best described her as she was 8 but talked like a 50-year-old Jewish woman. And this was her only acting credit.
And
but
I realized-
she was funny as hell.
yes, she was hilarious, and I realized that I loved their characters together because they like bickered like they were like an old married couple
Yeah.
all the time. They were delightful.
They were.
My next one is Fran Drescher.
Mm-hmm.
She plays Dolores, Louis' mom, and obviously the nanny. She was more recently in a TV show. I think it might have got canceled with Steven Weber and Adam Pally and
Abby Elliott.
Abby Elliott called Indebted.
I'm thinking if that show came out this year, it would be a hit.
Maybe, yeah.
Because Dan Levy created it.
It's not the same Dan Levy.
It's not the same Dan Levy?
I looked it up. It's some other guy whose name is Dan Levy.
I was thinking
No.
NBC would have really got behind it this year. Okay, makes sense.
That
Different
guy's
Dan
probably
Levy.
like, damn it, every time I take a meeting now, they're going to think it's Dan Levy, and it's not.
They walk in, they're like, David?
You're not David.
You're not David. Get out of here.
Did you have anybody else?
I had one more. Michael McKean, who
Yes.
plays Paulie. You know Michael McKean from Spinal Tap, Laverne and Shirley, and one of our bonus-odes, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah, he has a cameo in that.
Yeah.
And he's pretty much in every funny movie, like has a cameo. He's just a great character actor,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. He was on SNL for a real brief time, too.
Yeah, in the 80s.
Yeah. I think he actually might have been on in the 90s for
Oh,
like a hot minute.
for some reason when you said it, I was just thinking of like the season that Julia Louis-Dreyfus was in or something. I don't know, because that's like she's probably the only person I remember. There's got to be somebody else.
Well,
There was a season that it was just all shitty people. Too.
She was on with Eddie Murphy,
Okay.
and it's the season after they basically get rid of everyone, and they brought in Billy Crystal, and he was there for a year, even though Billy Crystal was already very famous at the time.
Yeah.
And then they kind of clean house and start fresh,
Right.
and it was,
Interesting.
yeah.
That's all I had.
That is all I had as well.
Shall we take a break real quick and come back?
Absolutely. Okay, and we're back.
The next category is called Kids Would Call It a Throwback. We call it the prime of our teens, where we talk about fashion, dated references, and offensive jokes. What did you think about the fashion?
The fashion took me back for the
Yeah.
most part. But there was some cool pieces that I did want to talk about. For one, Jack has sneakers that light up when he steps,
Yes.
which I totally had and thought they were awesome as hell.
Correct.
But mine were knockoffs. I'm pretty sure his were like Reebok.
At one point, I don't know if they were the light up ones. He might wear two different sneakers throughout the movie, but in the first scene where he's on the playground and he's kind of just hanging out by himself because everybody thinks he's weird.
Yeah.
He's wearing LA Tech sneakers. I don't know if they were the light up ones, but I remember that brand.
I remember LA Gear.
Yeah, maybe it was a knockoff of LA Gear.
Oh, could be.
I'm going to Google it real quick. I was going to, and then...
I know they still make, I would imagine, shoes that light up for kids.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I think I had one pair.
Same, because they stopped lighting up after like 2 weeks. You know?
Yeah. No, LA Tech was a brand.
Oh.
And I don't know if... I don't know if they're related to LA Gear.
There's allowed to be, I guess, more than one shoe company from LA.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I did notice that every female character wore body length floral dresses that were very popular. Like one of the little girls had like layers on, like a t-shirt underneath. It was like a spaghetti strap.
Yeah.
Floral shirt, a skirt or dress, whatever, it was fabric.
Yeah. But you bring up a good point,
I
though.
just messed that whole thing up and you're just like, yeah, you said all those things, right?
Well, I was going to say, you bring up a good point that even Jennifer Lopez wears one, Diane Lane wears it, like every female character in that. And I was thinking of the amount of girls that I went to school with that did exactly what you said, wear a t-shirt underneath it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if we started that trend because of strict school wardrobe rules. Girls couldn't wear spaghetti straps.
Mm-mm.
Obviously, if you're like 12, why can't you? There's nothing going on there.
Can't show off those shoulders.
Apparently, not with rabid males. Sorry. We're getting off topic again. My feminist views are clawing their way through, as always.
I like how you said they're clawing their way through. The next thing that I had was just Louis' hair.
Yeah.
It's slicked back, but it appears to have 3 or 4 hairs that go forward, and it's on purpose, I'm thinking, because it's every scene. He has these hairs, and those sideburns would make Luke Perry jealous.
I totally had a crush on Louis when I watched this movie for the first time. Oh, yeah. Slick back hair.
Yeah.
He was killing it.
He was.
He gave me this sense of kind of like Benny the Jet Rodriguez,
Yeah. But a younger
Yeah.
Benny. Yeah. Yeah, you did love yourself some Benny the Jet Rodriguez.
Yeah.
You're looking at your Sandlot Benny the Jet Rodriguez pop figure on the wall.
I am.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. One of my first crushes ever.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I think that's all I had as far as fashion. How about you?
The only other thing I wanted to mention was Louis at one point was wearing this weird polo shirt, fleeced hoodie vest combo.
Yeah, sure.
There's too much going on. Too much.
Pick a thing.
Yeah, pick a thing. But like I said, it was all clothes that I wore as a kid. It was all clothes.
You paused at us like, great. Hot take, Ryan.
Hot take. It's all clothes.
We're doing a bang up job.
Yep.
How about dated references?
Jack at one point asked to go sleep with his parents because I think he might have had a nightmare or something.
Yeah.
But he had a little Stimpy stuffed animal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like when he's like, Stimpy too? Because they're like, yeah, you can sleep with us. And I thought he said Stevie. And I was like, why did he name his Stimpy Stevie? Is he a cousin? I didn't watch that show as much as other kids, so I'm like, maybe he had a relative named Stevie?
He might have.
He said Stimpy.
Yeah. Because I even said to you, I was like, he said Stimpy.
I did like one of Jack's friends when they were playing basketball said, hello, McFly, because to be fair, they told him just to stand there and guard the basket because he's the tallest, obviously.
Yes.
And he does that and apparently wasn't good enough because he wasn't moving at all.
I was thinking when I was learning how to play basketball, they would tell you to just stand there with your arms up to play defense. That was defense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just took me back, if anything. Keeping with the basketball theme, once Jack becomes more comfortable, he's obviously 1.5 feet taller than everyone, and he's pretty good. Miss Marquez walks over and tells him that they might have to change his name to Shaq.
Yeah.
If he keeps playing like that.
She's like, from Jack to Shaq.
Yeah.
Well, she didn't say it as sassy as I did, but she should have.
Yeah.
I did so later in the movie, it's kind of like the rise of the conflict. He, goes through a lot of issues with really understanding that his life is very short compared to everybody else's. And he goes to the bar where Louis' mom invites him because she's still under the impression that he's an adult male.
Yes.
And a principal at their school.
Yes.
He gets into a fight, gets arrested, and when the officer that lets him out of the jail is giving him his items back, he's like, where's my pog? It's a slammer.
Yeah. And the guy had it in his pocket.
Yeah, he tried to steal his slammer. And then I guess that just embodies the 90s pog craze. So the fact that a police officer would steal a kid's. He doesn't know he's a kid. He thinks he's an adult.
Yeah.
But his slammer.
Yeah.
Good times.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
My last one is Miss Marquez gives the class an assignment where they have to write an essay
Yeah.
about what they want to be like when they grow older. And George says he wants to grow up to be a rapper like Heavy D.
He did.
And he wants to be called Heavy E.
Sure, sure.
Which I just thought Heavy D was an interesting choice for the rapper he wanted to be like.
Maybe whoever wrote this movie was like, it's funny because Eddie is a very scrawny, tiny child. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he wants to become a big man who's a rapper.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's the opposite of what he is.
Yeah.
I don't know. So they're like, what rapper embodies a bigger size person? Somebody named Heavy D, presumably.
D. And I realized I said George, but you said it correctly.
Eddie,
it's Eddie, because obviously he wants to be Heavy E and not
Yeah.
Heavy G. Come on, Ryan. Get with the program.
It's okay. There's so many children that are kind of like one-liners, too. Even in his little group, other than Louis, that it's just...
It's hard to keep track of them.
It really is.
Yeah.
How about offensive jokes?
I only had one, and I was kind of blown away by the joke. It's at the beginning where Jack's in his house and he hasn't really gone outside, and Louie and Eddie are in front of the house and they're talking about him. They've created their own story, and one of the kids says maybe his mom took some fertility drugs and that's why he is the way he is.
I think it was Eddie.
Yeah.
He said, like, maybe she was supposed to have quadruplets, but it just ended up being a big baby.
Yeah. And I was like, well, that's freaking rude.
They're 10.
And who the hell at 10 knows what a fertility drug is?
Smart 10-year-olds.
Smart Eddie who wants to be Heavy D.
I didn't really have any offensive jokes other than at the very beginning of the movie, Diane Lane and her husband... I'm just going to say Diane Lane and her husband. She's very famous, okay?
Yes.
They're at a Halloween party. Mm-hmm. And there's these two women dressed as cats that are just sitting there making comments about her body. Like, is she gaining weight? Is she fat? Is she bloated? Does she have a hormone issue? And I think it's really only to signify that when she went to the party, she was only a month pregnant or 2 months pregnant. And then by the time they left the party to go to the hospital, she had a huge stomach. She was a full-blown pregnancy.
Yeah.
She was a full-blown
pregnancy. Yes. I wrote that down too. It was one of my contenders for cringiest because I thought it was so just rude.
It really...
Bitchy. And I like how you pointed out they were cats.
Yeah, so they were
sitting there
catty.
being catty.
Yeah, they probably did that on purpose. Mm-hmm. Did you have any other jokes?
No, that was the only one I had.
Okay.
Yeah.
I put the whole situation of like Louie's mom hitting on Jack in here because it is a little iffy if you really overthink it that she is trying to seduce a child, but at the same time she has no clue he's a child. And they only kiss, so it's not like a big situation where...
Well, everything she's been presented, like you said, is he's a principal at the school.
Yeah.
He looks 45. Why wouldn't she think he's 45?
Correct, yeah. Do you want to move on?
Yes. Our next category, we're going to go ahead and watch some TV in our treehouse on our black and white TV and talk about some technology.
I was thinking, how many extension cords did they need to get that powered up?
Yeah, because that treehouse, it had like 4 levels.
Right, mostly cardboard.
Yeah, it was not up to code.
No. I did like the opening of the movie, the credits, after Jack has been born. There's a bunch of science-y tech around him because they're doing studies on him and tests to see what's going on with him. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
I really wonder what it would be like for a 2-month-old to be out in the world in a full-blown body, but his brain isn't developed.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, he just ages, but yeah, the brain is still at the level it...
should be.
Yeah. Because you brought up a good point. At 4, he would look like a 16-year-old, but he's still a 4-year-old and would be limited vocabulary and just going through life.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having a potty train an 8-year-old?
No.
No, thank you.
Or, yeah, like, did he have to wear diapers
Probably.
until he was, like, presumably, like, 13 or 14?
Yeah,
He was still in diapers?
probably.
Ugh, I feel bad for Diane Lane's character. It's like a 12-year-old poops. Like, they're basically adult poops, I'm sure. I haven't seen any, but I
It's
assume.
a full-grown poop.
I just remember from when you're 12, like, you know, they're not baby poops. This is interesting.
That's Poop Talk with Ryan and Ashley.
We're in technologies.
Back to the technology.
Yeah.
At one point, it's when Jack's played basketball at school, and he comes home and he's super excited. So he calls his dad to tell him about how he scored all these points and everything. And his dad talks to him on this huge flip phone that has like a 7-inch antenna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a classy phone.
Mm-hmm.
I did like that Jack uses the radio as his alarm for
Yeah.
his first day of school. And that's something I'm sure people don't do. Maybe older people
Yeah.
still that
Yeah.
are kind of set in their ways.
I remember I had like a little alarm clock that I would set till probably like 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
You would always use your cell phone.
Like a normal person.
Exactly. At least I didn't have an alarm clock with the little knob that you winded. I think my parents probably still have those.
Yeah. Did you want to talk about the soundtrack?
Yes. There was not a lot to choose from.
There wasn't really, no. There was a couple songs. There was a couple in the bar scene, and then the very beginning of the movie.
The song Star by Bryan Adams.
It can't be a 90s movie
Yeah.
without some sentimental shit from Bryan Adams.
I will say, there was also this song that they would play specifically when Jack is eating the goop that they make up.
Yes.
It's just this weird song that's just like dub, dub, dub. Dub, dub, dub.
I didn't
That's
notice
all
it.
the song says.
Is it like the song from Biodome?
No. But I thought of that when I'm like, what the hell is this song? It was just, I don't know.
I don't think I noticed it because I think I was just so enthralled in what they were putting into
Yeah.
their concoctions that they would make.
No, thank you.
That's pretty much all I had because that's the only song I noted was the Bryan Adams song.
Yeah, same.
I have a gripe against Bryan Adams.
And you know what? You should.
There was a stupid Christmas song when I was in high school that I think it wasn't called Christmas Time. I can't remember what it was called. I tried to black it out. We had to sing it for choir, and every single person in my choir hated this song. But our teacher still made us sing it. I think she hated the song too, but she's like, we need another Christmas song. We already started this one. It was so cheesy, and it was a Bryan Adams song. So fuck that guy.
I was never a fan of his.
I liked the song from...
Robin Hood?
Yeah.
I can't even claim that. The Summer of '69. That's the only other one that I
Yeah.
can think of.
We have strong stances on Bryan Adams.
Not a fan. Not a fan.
Do you want to move on?
Yes.
The next category, I almost said episode.
The next episode.
The next episode. We're on to the next episode. Okay. The next category is called Is It Even Good? Where we talk about the plot holes, and we name our funniest and cringiest moments from this film. So the plot. Do you want to break it down for us?
I thought the log line actually describes it quite well.
Yeah.
So, Jack is a boy who ages at 4 times the rate of a child. He's now going to go to school for the first time, public school, and have to go through all the issues we all went through of getting judged and all that fun stuff.
You're like, I know how Jack feels. I had to go to school and people are like, he wears glasses.
They called me Four Eyes.
I'm just kidding.
I know.
But you can't compare your situation to this
No.
child's. So My first plot hole is the fact that when Jack goes to school for the first day, they don't get him a desk that is his size. Obviously, his parents have called, said, hey, this is our situation. Our kid has this very rare disease. He looks like he's 40. And they probably had to provide documentation because that could be a nightmare if he was just an adult pretending to be a child. But yeah, they didn't give him a desk big enough for him.
No.
Jam his 40-year-old body into a tiny little desk.
Yeah. I even said that to him, like, how did they not give him a desk for a grown man?
For comedy.
His poor knees.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him. Keeping with that theme, when Jack goes to the clubhouse for the first time, Eddie looks at the group of them, which there is 5 of them in this treehouse, and goes, the maximum weight for this treehouse is 150 pounds.
That thing should have fell years ago.
Yeah, you all probably weigh about 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should have fell decades ago. You jerk.
Yeah, jerk.
Oh, but then also, when the treehouse does fall,
Yeah.
not a scratch on these kids. They
Right?
just fell like 50 feet.
I'm pretty sure Mr. Woodruff and Jack would be in the hospital.
Somebody would have broke a bone.
They have old bodies. There was just a line. I think it's after his first day, and he didn't have a good day because kids are horrible. That's what this movie should be called. Kids can be horrible. And he's outside riding his bike, and his dad's like, your mom made sloppy joes. And he's like, she doesn't even like sloppy joes. He's like, no parents do. We just make them for you. And I'm like, sloppy joes are delicious.
That's a lie.
You don't speak for me, sir.
Excuse me, sir. You do not speak for me.
What was your next one?
That was actually all I had.
Okay.
Yeah. You bring up a good point. Who doesn't like sloppy joes?
Right?
Yeah.
I did wonder, and I'm going to ask you this question. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to.
Okay.
But at what age did you start getting interested in ladies and lady magazines? Like
the first,
dirty magazines, as
first
they like to
time
say.
I stumbled upon a dirty magazine, it was 5th grade.
So about this age?
Yeah, about this age.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because they're very obsessed with getting dirty magazines, and I feel like they're almost a little too young. Mm-hmm. So I felt like it was a plot hole.
Okay.
You know?
Fair enough.
But you would know better than I.
Yeah.
Having been a 10-year-old boy.
Having been a 10-year-old boy, yeah. The fact that it's like this huge group of these kids that are obsessed with it, that I don't buy.
Yeah. Maybe a couple years down the road.
Yeah. Like a 14-year-old, I think that's believable.
Yeah.
But 10 years? No. Yeah.
Okay. I did want to say another line that I was just like, plot hole, was at the end of the movie, Louis is reading his essay, and he's talking about how much he looks up to Jack, and it's his best friend, and how he wants adults to act more like he does, because he has childlike wonder still, because he is a child. But he's like, adults just want to go to work and make money, and I'm like, no, we don't. we don't want to go to work.
We have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I really wish they would have had Jennifer Lopez's character be like, ha. They really missed the mark on that. Just saying, if I rewrote this movie, I'd make more jokes like that.
Touche.
What was your funniest line or moment?
I'm going to keep it with the theme of the kids being obsessed with dirty magazines. And that is Jack goes into a convenience store and he buys a penthouse.
Yeah.
But he has like a walkie-talkie. And
Right.
he's like, 10-4, I have the penthouse. And then he turns and there was a nun behind him.
Yeah.
And he just looks back at the clerk and goes, do you have any pictures of the Pope? So I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
What was your funniest moment?
His parents take him to school for the first time, and he's meeting the principal, Mr. McGee. And, he's shy. He's a child, and it's his first day at a new school. Totally relate to that situation. And Mr. McGee is asking him a question, and he's like, yes. And he's like, speak up, son. And he's like, yes. And he's like, speak up. So then he yells, and it's just hilarious.
Because then he looked at his mom and he goes, I think he's hard of hearing.
Yeah. I love any situation where it's literally like your brain is playing tricks on you because you look at Robin Williams and go, that's Robin Williams. And then he does something and you're like, no, that's a 10-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
There was quite a few funny moments, though.
Yeah.
Where I was cracking up.
For sure.
What was your cringiest line or moment?
My cringiest line or moment, I don't know the kid's name, but when Miss Marquez gives them the assignment, you're going to write an essay about what you want to be when you get older. And the kid looks at her and goes, Miss Marquez, I want to be a gynecologist. And she was like, and why would you want to be that? And he's like, you're the reason. I'm
Creep?
like, so that, at 10 years old, I had no idea what a gynecologist was. That kid's a creep.
Yeah. That was George.
George.
He was like, in their little friend group, he's like the little Romeo, obviously. Apparently already knows what a gynecologist does.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to be kind of disappointed.
Yeah.
Mine was just when they had Jack eat the concoction or Mr. Woodruff. They're both interchangeable as far as having to eat the whole mess of stuff that they put together.
Yeah. And Jack's had worms in it.
Yes.
Yeah. Gross.
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 Yeah.
Did you have any random thoughts you wanted to talk about?
Towards the end of the movie, Jack had went away from school for a while, but he goes back.
Right.
And when he gets back into class, the first thing he does is like open his desk and he pinches his hand. And that just took me back. The amount of times I would slam my fingers on the desk.
Yeah, battle wounds,
pinch 'em.
man.
Oh, freaking hated him.
Yeah.
But I think I told you in Ohio we had the flip tops, but here in Arizona, it was
Yeah, the cubby.
It had the cubby.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we talked about that on
Yeah.
a previous episode. We had a mixture.
Mm.
I feel like my school was so poor, they just got all their desks from like a dump yard or something.
Mm-hmm.
A dump yard?
A dump yard? Got them from a dump yard?
What is that
Is
called?
there like a
dump?
like a dump?
Yeah.
They just were crap?
They were just shitty. There was, honestly, it was probably just, all the old desks that they would give to the younger classes. And like the older kids would get the new stuff when we get stuff replaced.
I remember in Ohio what they would do is replace like one classroom a year would get new desks. I a couple times lucked out and we were like, yay, we got the new desks.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're getting these ones that are like, man, my grandpa might have used a desk like this.
Right.
Piece of crap.
School systems.
Mm-hmm.
I did love all the 90s kids jokes in this movie. I appreciated them. The one kid who was kind of like a bully at first, I think his name was Victor.
Mm-hmm.
He was part of another little clique of boys that they'd play basketball against.
Mm-hmm.
I said basketball.
Basketball.
Yes. He's like, hey, Lewis, you Lewiser. Like,
Sick burn, bro.
yeah.
Jeez.
And then also the fact that they were like, Jack has cooties, and because he touched their
I
basketball.
was going to say, he contaminated the basketball.
Fucking kids, man.
Fucking douchebags. Oh.
We're so mean. Fucking douche.
Fucking douchebag kids. I did like at the end, they do a little time jump and the kids are now graduated.
Right.
And this was just something that you said was 18-year-old Lewis looks like a dark-haired Brad Pitt. And he did.
He did.
He did look like a dark-haired Brad Pitt. Yeah.
It was interesting. I did like in that scene, they showed like the older versions of Phoebe and what was the other little girl's name?
Jane?
Jane. Mm-hmm. And they're still wearing like 90s stuff. And I'm like, it's 2004, 2003. They should be wearing the lowest of low-rise jeans and have really tan skin and bleach blonde hair.
They were wearing like Blossom's hat still.
So much self-tanner on their bodies.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. You're right on the lowest of low-rising
Yeah.
jeans. Ugh.
I did like the scene where Jack, you mentioned it earlier, where Jack's calling his dad because it was the first day of school where he got to play with his friends and he had a good day at school. So he's so excited to call his dad and he's like just going off at 100 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. And I was like wondering if maybe that was ad-libbed a little bit because it just seemed like something Robin Williams does very naturally. Mm-hmm. It was hilarious. And also because if you noticed, his dad didn't really say anything.
Yeah.
He's just like, is your mom around? Just generic things.
He's like, I scored 1,000 points. Well, it was more like 100. Okay, it was 14.
Yeah. It was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have anything else?
That is all I had.
Awesome. Shall we move on, or shall we take a break real quick?
Take a quick break. Okay, and we're back. As always on Ruining Our Childhood, it is awards season. We give out 2 awards every week, the first of which is a valedictorian to the Nicolas Cage Online School of Bad Acting. Whom did you give your award to?
I ended up giving mine to Edward Lynch. He played the angry man at the bar, in the bar scene that picks a fight with Jack, just because he was kind of a dick. And I didn't have any gripes on any of the acting with the main cast. I just found him kind of sleazy and obviously over the top because Jack just accidentally bumps into him at a crowded bar. That's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, put your dick away. You don't need to get in a fight.
Yeah, you're a man. We get it.
But yeah, it's just because also, to be honest with you, the bar scene was almost unnecessary.
Yeah.
It was just kind of more to exploit the fact that, yeah, he can get away with going into a bar because he looks like he's 40.
Yeah.
But does he really need to go to a bar?
No. Like,
it didn't drive the plot or anything like that.
It didn't. I guess maybe it gave Fran Drescher another scene in the movie.
That's true.
But
and she was kind of a git at the time.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I agree with you. It's kind of unnecessary. We can look at him and tell he could order a drink and get away with it.
Right.
You don't.
And you've already established that he can buy dirty magazines.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Because then also he got arrested.
Mm-hmm.
What did they put for his date of birth on
right.
all of that stuff?
That's a plot hole.
Yeah.
He doesn't have an ID
No.
or a driver's license.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I agree with you. Totally unnecessary.
Who did you pick?
I gave it to Brian Kerwin, who plays Jack's dad.
Mm-hmm.
I hated the first scene where the catty women are picking apart Diane Lane's appearance, but then like she goes into labor, so they take her to the hospital, and he just walks in and he's like, "Help, help! Can someone help me?" Like that's the manner in which he said help.
Yeah.
Your wife, who is very not pregnant at the time, she's probably, I think, in the first trimester.
Yes, she mentions that.
You would be freaking out.
Right.
There would not be a walking into the hospital just going, help.
Maybe he's had a couple.
Yeah.
They were at a Halloween party. Yeah.
He would have been even more hyped up.
That's true, maybe.
So, but I agree with you. The acting was not that bad. It was just that scene
nitpicking.
there. I'm nitpicking.
Shall we move on to the next award?
Mm-hmm.
The Thomas J. Hanks Award for Exceptional Acting. Who did you give your award to?
I don't think it should come as any surprise. I gave it to Robin Williams because you brought up earlier in the episode, you mentioned, you know, hey, he's a grown man, but then you're like, nope, that's a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
And so I thought he was extremely convincing at those portions of acting like a 10-year-old. But then the scenes with Mr. Woodruff, and then also when he asked Miss Marquez to the dance.
Yeah.
Like, it was a lot of, like, you saw his range as an actor. It was kind of heartbreaking at times, and he was really good.
Yeah. No, he was definitely the driving force of the movie as far as, like, good acting.
Mm-hmm.
And he just does an excellent job of making you forget that he's not actually a 10-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he's crying because Miss Marquez says no to him, like, his just face, like, when she says no to him and he's still in the classroom with her, it just looks so sad. You just want to give him a hug.
Yeah.
When he gets angry at his mom when she suggests that he go back to homeschooling because he's had, like, the heart scare.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just really angry because that's the opposite of what he wants. He wants to live his life. He knows he's come to terms basically with the fact that he's not going to get a full life like his friends, and he wants to be able to live his life to the fullest he knows how, which means, you know, hanging out with dirty little boys in a cardboard treehouse.
Yeah. Did you give it to him as well?
I did.
Okay.
And one of the other things that I loved was at the bar scene when he's met Polly, who's Michael McKean's character, and they're talking and they're drinking. He's a little drunk. And Fran Drescher's character walks in and they're looking at her, and Polly's like, I bet you can crack walnuts on her ass, because, you know, saying that she has a nice ass. And Jack's face when he says it is just pure confusion, because he's literally like, why would you want to crack walnuts on this lady's ass? It's the best face. He just does a really good job of playing that role of a 10-year-old.
No. He is such a delightful actor, and easily one of the people that have passed away that really just bummed me out.
Yeah.
I remember on 88 Miles Per Hour's episode they do for Mrs. Doubtfire, Freddie talks about having met him.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So, really good episode, and just another one talks about what a good dude he was. Yeah.
I did want to give an honorable mention. We already talked about them, but Danny Faith, and who plays Jane and Journey Smollett, for just literally being just great child actors, in the sense that they were like, I felt like half of their stuff was probably improv, for all I know. They probably weren't, but
no, they were hilarious. Yeah.
I felt like they should have had more of them in the movie.
Agreed.
So now we'll ask the question, do you think this movie holds up?
I still thought this movie was a lot of fun. Even being a 36-year-old guy watching this movie, it still was funny. There wasn't a lot of cringiness to it. I just thought it was a really cute movie. So I definitely thought it held up.
I agree solely on the fact of Robin Williams' performance. This movie, rewatching it today, it does verge on a little bit more of a cheesy, that kind of 90s overly sentimental type movie. Or, you know, there was a lot of TV shows in the 90s that really did that. Kind of like, let's take this sad thing and try to make it light, but then also make you feel really bad.
Yeah.
Because when you really think about this movie, he's going to die soon. Like, he's not going to have a very long life. And this movie was based on a real disease, though it's not obviously depicted very correctly in this movie, because they don't age like a 40-year-old man. It's a different type of disease that really affects the child's body. It's called progeria, I think that's how you say it. And the average lifespan of somebody of that is 13 years old. So obviously Hollywood makes it their own. But the only reason I think this movie holds up is because of Robin Williams and his performance, and it makes Jack really likable, and you want to root for him. And everybody else is really good in the film too, but I think the actual film is a little cheesy, but it's worth watching just for Robin Williams.
As I say, and you did kind of touch on Jennifer Lopez is really good in this, Stan Lane.
Yeah.
And the kids are all fun too.
Yeah.
But I agree, it could have went down the cheesy part. There was just he does a math problem really quick when one of the kids says, I want to get married at 28. And he just does 28 times 4. And he's like, I would be 116.
And he's like, I just want to be alive.
Yeah, that's all he wants to do, is be able to live to be alive by then.
And to that I say, way to go, Miss Marquez. Pick a topic that this one kid's like, cool, I'm going to be dead when I'm a grown-up, so thanks for the reminder.
Thanks, Miss Marquez. No more red gummy bears for you.
So, yeah, it's a good one. It was a nice Sunday watch.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, guys. As always, don't forget to check out our final poll of the season.
Yes.
It's the grand finale. Everything has been leading up to this moment.
2 great theatrical masterpieces. 2009's 2012. That alone doesn't make sense.
And whatever year in the Army now.
I think 1995-ish. In the Army now.
So definitely make sure you're voting for that. Our Twitter poll at ROC Movie Podcast on Thursdays. And on Friday, it will be up on our Instagram stories at Ruining Our Childhood. And yeah, guys, It's going to be a doozy.
Yeah.
We're going to end up watching both of them, right?
Yeah.
Is that how that works? We didn't really think.
We're just basically going to do one this week and do one the following week.
Yeah.
But one will truly be The Biggest Loser.
Right. And I'm still sticking to Pauly Shore.
Yeah, I'm still sticking to him as well.
That's weird.
The fact that a Robin Williams movie made it to the final four, or as my brother said, the forgettable four.
Yeah. It's like, damn, we should have used that.
Yeah. It's kind of impressive.
Yeah.
And now you're going, okay, Pauly Shore, believable.
Now we're in the terrible 2.
Yeah.
So.
Thanks for listening, guys.
See you next week.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye.